Hello and welcome everyone to Anfield Road TV. It's the pre-match opposition show. We've got a familiar face on the podcast tonight, but for the audio listeners and obviously the video listeners, it's me, Kev, and of course our good mate Dan from Turf Moorhouse TV. All the links to Dan's socials are, as always, in the description. But if you can do one thing this weekend, drop a sub, drop a subscribe. Top lad, one of my long time mates on YouTube anyway, but it's a top lad. I made up Burnley are back in, and they're actually playing a lot more attractive football anyway, under Vinny company. But Dan, first and foremost, a massive thank you for coming on, mate. How are you?
No, thanks for having me. First and foremost, love it. It's good to be back. I like loving the new setup. It's changed. Changes have been a lot, so it's looking good though, mate. And thanks for having me. A lot to talk about, a lot of crap to get through, especially regarding my club. Anyway,
that's right, lad. Well, I wouldn't say we're a mess, but I don't know if you. I'm pretty sure you would have seen one or two Liverpool videos over the last couple of weeks anyway. With big Jurgen leaving, there's a lot for us to talk about. But enough about Liverpool. This is what me and Kevin did, and I'll be asking the questions for you, mate. First and foremost, Dan, last season, absolutely fantastic. You blew the championship up really with the football you were playing. Just talk a bit about last season, mate. It was above expectations, or was it what you anticipated?
Above, massively above. I think when we came down, there were people on TalkSport, people on Sky, all over the world saying Burnley could get back-to-back relegations. They could really falter with the money that's spent since Alan Pace and the Americans took over, and everyone were trying to basically, put the willies up us, basically, try and, scare us quite a bit. But honestly, obviously, when Dash left, we was thinking, who's going to come in? Obviously, Vinny was touted at first. And I thought, all right, well, that ship sailed. We've been relegated. He's not going to come to a championship club. So next on for me, I was thinking Rooney at the time. He was doing well with Derby. I thought, still going for a player with a name pull. Could he do well at Burnley? Let's see what happens. But then our heads were turned. It was announced. Vinny wanted to come. He's come here with a project.
Big contract as well, isn't it, mate?
It came with like a 2-3 year deal. And then on promotion, he got a 5-year contract on top of it. So he's done really well. Don't get me wrong. Obviously, he didn't really rip up the book at Anderlecht. He wasn't really, turned them into an absolute masterclass. So we was thinking, what do we expect here? A lot's changed at Burnley, though, as we know. You only have to look across Stanley Park to see that the big ginger beast is now there, and the blue side of Merseyside.
He's somehow kept them up, lads. We know in the past when we spoke about Sean Dyche, he's a very good manager, mate.
He is. But the next manager always had big boots to fill, and obviously, company coming in was a huge appointment for us as well. I didn't know whether the American owners would be able to get that across the line. And they did. And I thought, right, let's see who we bring in. Because we've always been known as Brexit FC, bringing in 35-year-old. If Sean Dyche were manager, no doubt we'd have had James Milner in our midfield right now. No. I'm telling you that. 4-3, easy peasy. But no, we're different. We're now, it's like an a la carte menu half of our players' names. Koleosho, Assignon. Honestly, I feel like I'm on the French Riviera sometimes with half of the names. It's madness. But we've done really well. Like I said, last season we took a lot of loans out. The likes of Harwood Bellis from City.
Teller as well.
Teller, Ian Matson. Just throwing it out there that they've clearly made a good do at Burnley, because now you've got Teller top of the Bundesliga with Bayer Leverkusen, and obviously Matson's now at Dortmund, so we're doing something all right. Sorry to Harwood Bellis and Southampton. Sorry, I'm just sort of palming you off, but it is what it is.
We have our favourites, don't we?
Yeah. It was just last season was a blur. It was a bit of a blur. I don't even think company expected it. He came in with this 2 to 3 year plan that I'll buy young players. We'll see if we can, expect players to come in, and even if they're good and you want to try and keep them, we're going to have to get rid of them. If we buy him for someone for say 3 million, and then we get offered, we want him for 20 million. He's done amazing this season. You're snapping their hand off. So we said we're going to try and do that, nurture players and stuff. But he said it'll take a 2 to 3 year plan, and then we'll return to the Premier League. Not once did anybody at Burnley Football Club think we would go straight back up again. And to achieve it, not just achieve promotion, but Blackburn can always go on about, oh, we won the league in 95. Yeah, I'm not being funny, mate. Keep crying into that crusty sock. Because trust me, try winning the division at your flaming, just... Oh,
rivals.
He would park and winning the title at Ewood Park. That can't be topped. I'm sorry, it can't be topped. But yeah, good last season, and then obviously this season it's been difficult, but I'm sure we'll get into that.
Yes, spot on, mate. Kev, obviously, ask away in terms of getting. I think one thing, ask away, Kev, in terms of find out about Burnley, mate.
I was really pleased to see what Vincent Kompany did last season. I was just thinking, I like the innovation of some of the new managers that have come into the football recently. We say new, but they're old heads. I mean, you look at the example between Frank Lampard and at the moment Steven Gerrard's on a bit of a mess slope, but Frank Lampard has completely dropped off a cliff as a manager. And these are kind of like levels of different guys that you have there. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, all of these kind of ex-players that have come out from the previous generation and gone into management. Gary Neville and the likes of these, all dropped off cliffs. But then you see the likes of Vincent Kompany and Xabi Alonso, and they're kind of pretty much, I know Vincent Kompany's at Burnley, and I know where they are in the position, but actually doing really well as managers, for what they've done. I mean, winning the league, as you say, at Blackburn, my cousin wouldn't be too happy, and my buddies, a couple of them are Blackburn fans. But, winning the league there and coming up the way he did. And you had a couple of okay results. I know the form for the bottom three are pretty much very, very similar at the moment.
Yeah.
So there's like 2 draws, losses, and they're all bouncing off each other. I think in some weeks you're all drawing at the same time, some weeks you're all losing at the same time, and nothing's really balanced. It's balancing itself out, but nobody's really gaining points down there too much. So it's poised for the end of the season for you guys. Especially with Nottingham Forest last game of the season. I mean, that could be a plentiful game down there. You've gotten some of your tough bottom of the table games out of the way, but what I've noticed on the Burnley is that you tend to, in the Premier League, go on after pretty much March and do a little bit of a run. Where it's the win, it's a draw, a win, maybe then 2 losses in a row, then maybe I've seen it kind of over your previous seasons and things like that. So. It bodes well. I mean, the only difference down there is that Everton are the surprise package that are down, not really a surprise compared to last season, but they're the surprise package that's down there at the moment because, I mean, their goal difference compared to the people down around them there's a gap of like 20 goals maybe that they're plus.
Massive, yeah.
So it's massive, so... I mean, Everton on -4, the rest everybody else is down on -20, -40.
Yeah, I was going to say, Dan, there's another 2 teams that probably come at the end of the season potentially could get a 10-point deduction. So ideally, I think as we speak about tonight as well. No, the Greek Kev. Going in terms of Vincent Kompany, Dan, going into this season, and you spoke about at the top of the show about obviously last year and how successful it was. Your expectations really in terms of coming into the league, as Kev's alluded to, some of the results of course not planned out as he'd like. Obviously, I think, as Kev alluded to, certain young managers when you've come in, i.e. Gerrard, Lampard, you've got this persona, obviously great players on the pitch, but it's not really translated really well, and especially the type of player Kompany is. He's a leader for City, numerous league title winner. He knows what it is to win, Dan. In terms of going into this year's campaign, what were your expectations? Was it survival? Or is it just try and do a bit more better, or for you personally, or any Burnley as a whole?
It were head and a heart sort of thing. Obviously, your heart tells you that 17th and above on a first season back in the Premier League has always got to be a big achievement. But Vinny wouldn't want that. As a leader and as a winner, he'd want something more than just stability and a season in another season in the Premier League. But your head's saying, after the season we've just had, who's not saying we could be a mid-table, staple of the Premier League over a good couple of seasons? The thing that for me is that obviously there's a documentary out now on Burnley season last season through Sky, and the analysis that Vincent Kompany goes through You know, when he gets to, I think, like Kev said, you get to halfway through the season and he's sat in a boardroom meeting and he's talking about how team cohesion seems to click around the mid-season mark, and you see players starting to gel. I mean, we're starting to see that in games now. We're starting to see certain players actually, you know, getting the confidence. They're learning each other's game. We've not just, you know, the squad from last season has been completely, it's almost like we've torn the book up from last year and gone, yeah, you've got us promoted, brilliant, thank you. But we need a new squad for the Premier League. And that bugs me quite a bit, because it's like, why haven't you give those lads that have literally slogged their heart out for you last season, why aren't you giving them a chance? I mean, the likes that we've loaned Zahori to Hull, I can understand maybe it's the fact that these foreign lads have come in, they've not much physicality about them, so he wants them to go out, do the hard knocks, you know, get kicked and stuff
Do you
like
think it
that.
might be a bit about personality as well with certain players?
It could be. I think that's another thing. I mean, he'll know about that from his time at City, that they don't just look at a player and think, oh, we're going to bring him in because he's class, he's got flair, he's got good technical ability. They look into the complete background of a player. That is your family okay, no troubles, everything, you know, all right with yourself, no mental health issues, etc. like that. So, you know, I think it was Fergie who also did stuff like that had a look really into your personal background to understand you as a person, not just as said person, the player. Going off what you said,
Klopp does very similar as well. He looks for the type of mentality that they have. Nathaniel Klein and Mohamedou Sakho were vital examples of that. They got shipped out fast because of their entourage and the type of attitude that they had. So sorry, yeah.
It's true, and I think that's why we've seen a few of the names in January that said they wanted to. We've had 2 or 3 players say that, oh no, I want to stay. I want to try and, you know, give a claim to the for a first team place. So company will want that, but if this player's not interested, then I'm sure he'll be quick enough to show him the door. In terms of what you're saying in regards to the links with Gerrard and Lampard, we do see a lot of that. You can say that because he's in the Premier League and that he's made that jump. For me, with Gerrard, it was different. Obviously,
he had a car
success. Yeah, he had a success with Rangers, which, to be honest, all 3 of us could go in there, you know, and do a 3-week stint and probably come away with 9 points. So
I wouldn't. I'm Irish.
Yeah,
I'd be killed. I don't follow any of them, but I'd be killed. Yeah.
But it would be, you know, up there. Success is bred into those 2 bigger clubs, really, up there, if that's what you want to call it.
Actually saying that, I'd go into Rangers and probably get them relegated on purpose. Right, lads, see you later.
There's just an erected statue of Kev in the middle of Ireland. That's it.
Yeah. In terms of patterns of play, style of play, obviously, is there been any form of, in terms of what Liverpool anticipate come what Saturday, mate? Is there been any shift in terms of stylistically, or is it Vincent Kompany's gone into the league and played a similar way than that was successful in the Championship last season, mate?
Yeah, very similar to last season. I think he's very set in his ways that this is the way I want us to play. And I know a lot of outside noise will be saying, well, that's a bit naive. Like, why aren't you willing to change it up? Why aren't you doing that? But if you want a winning mentality, sometimes you've got to take the rough with the smooth. And if you can see week by week that certain bits of players' games are getting better, the cohesion's working, why are you going to change it? Because it's another game week of something that a tactic they're training on every day of the week, and then they take it to a game where basically, you know, put your money where your mouth is. And I think obviously the game against Fulham was perfect for that. You go 2-0 down against a poor Fulham side, really. I mean, they'd not won at Turf Moor in God knows how long. And to go 2-0 up to obviously scoring from a set piece, which is something we've been absolutely shocking from, which is strange when you know Burnley for solid defending and strong from set pieces. And then the second goal was a simple ball over the top because we play a high line, which again, with the rumour of Salah back, isn't something I'm looking forward to this weekend. Playing a high line and you knocking it over the top for him. So it's, you know, the way we have set up is fun to watch. Completely different to what we got from our previous manager, just knocking it long to a big stiff man up top. We are literally passing it out from the back, trying to play tiki-taka football. For me, Vincent Kompany, as naive as he is, has to remember we are not Manchester City. We are not a finished article. We are brand new. We are shit. And we are still Burnley. Do not forget the fabric that we are still Burnley. We are small fish in a big pond. And that's what I think he forgets.
But even Kev and Dan, like, why shouldn't you, as a Burnley fan, mate? You every fan should want good football, and I think in terms of what Dan's coming from as well, I think it's exciting. Dan's sense from already tonight. In terms of, yes, we are second in the Premier League, but as a fan, and especially from the transition from the years prior with under Dyche, it was a certain brand. I'm pretty sure Dyche would like to play.
Yeah, it was shit. The football was shit. It was absolutely diabolical to watch. Because you felt like you had 11 men behind the ball, and when you got that one chance to lump it forward, you either score or you don't. Don't get me wrong, it got us to Europe. I'm not going to whinge. If it gets people, there's two sides of this story. That one is, do you play bad or not bad? Because I think Dash would probably say, "What the heck are you on about?" I played with what I had in front of me, which, fair enough. It worked. It got you results. This is starting to work. And obviously, it's just a case of if and when. What people need to realize is, yes, these are footballers, but they're still kids.
Yeah.
The players we've got now, when we have an average squad of about 32, the average age of the squad last 2 seasons back was 32. We've managed to drop that down to about 24. So if that doesn't speak volumes, that they're gonna take knocks, they are gonna take. Make mistakes. Passing's going to be a bit wayward at times. And Kompany knows that. He said that. What signing James Trafford for 19 million, who's only League One proven,
signing,
really.
by the way. I was going to ask you about that, man.
Was that the lad that was at Bolton beforehand as well?
Yeah.
He was at Bolton a couple of seasons
what
ago,
I mean. He was only League One proven, but then I'm thinking, if he actually can come into his own, he'll be solid. He will absolutely be solid for us.
He had the game of his life at Christmas, didn't he? Christ, when we played them. Like, my man, like, it was like man possessed. Like, if it wasn't for us getting the 2 goals, one of them being a bloody scramble as well. But I tell you what, it's straight into it.
He's getting stronger game by game. He's getting stronger game by game. A lot of our fans still want Muric back. A lot of our fans still go and put Muric back in. He didn't deserve to be dropped. But I can understand Kompany saying, well, I've spent 19 million on a young lad that needs confidence, needs game time. He's prone to errors, prone to mistakes, but he's learning. And I don't know. I think we've got a future England number 1 in our ranks anyway.
I just remember when Burnley came up first, going back a few years ago. Well, in this period of time, in the I'll call this era's first generation of Burnley players that came up in late 2000s or something like that.
Yeah.
And I remember your first game this season beat United 1-0 or something like that.
Robbie Blake screamer.
Yeah, I remember that day. So, and the manager at that time, didn't he manage Hull as well before? What was his name? The dark-haired fella. He played the kind of football that was similar to Stoke that kept you in there.
No, it was still Fergie. It was still Fergie that day. Fergie was still...
No, of Burnley.
Burnley, yeah, it was...
Phil... Was it
Owen Coyle.
Was it Owen Coyle? Okay. Because I just remember you had very kind of Stoke feel about it when early days Stoke. So I like hard tacklers, guys that are ball winners, nice pressing game.
Half of our signings that season came from Stoke as well, to be fair.
Yeah. Good pressing side, hard pressing side, but in stages, which is great. There wasn't a constant pressure. So I enjoyed Burnley's football when they first came up there around that time. Yeah, the Dyche thing, it was just kind of survivability. It worked for him. It kept you up for a long time. It was always keeping you kind of mid to late table for a while. And then, the drop off. I think Burnley are very, very capable at their age to pull out of
I dare say, if Dash was still in charge of Burnley now, we'd be in the shit. And I don't just say that, I don't disrespect what he's done, but I think the fact that football's adapted, would he have been able to adapt? Because obviously, he didn't really get given time with the new owners. And I think they fell out, which is another reason why it was a case of see you later, no one got to say goodbye. But I think obviously with football adapting and the way we were playing, we probably would have been destined to drop divisions drastically.
It's hard. hard margins really now, lads, in it for every club.
God, you sound like Sean Dash himself there.
A bit of a
Fine margins, fine margins. We're doing all right, let's.
We're just going to go full David Elliott at the end of the day. Right, just yeah.
Yeah, of course. Throw that in as well. In terms of danger men, Dan, in terms of Burnley perspective on Saturday, I think all of us are interested. Obviously, mentioned James Trafford. Obviously, goals have not been aplenty. I think your two highest goal scorers have got 4 goals apiece, even right in the Premier League at the minute. In terms of danger men, mate, a couple of names that Liverpool fans might not have heard of. Who's a couple of players to keep an eye on Saturday, mate, from your point of view?
I'd probably say Wilson Odebear. Really young lad. I think we signed him for about 3 million. Literally, that's it, which is peanuts in today's market. A young lad who's got the potential to go really, really far in his career. Hopefully still at Burnley, but I can't see it. Obviously, Luca Koleosho would have been massive, but he's ruled out for the rest of the season. And that man you've got in the graphic there, Datro Fofana, I think since coming in from Chelsea, what a revelation he's been. He just reminds me of Nathan Tella. They're not just the fact that he's wearing 23 like Tella did last year, but the way he sits on the shoulder of the last defender, he's constantly screaming for the ball, wanting it, saying, look, literally, you can see the run. I'm running in there, play it in. And you could see that evidently against Fulham, how much he wanted it. It works good for us. It would work well for Chelsea. Obviously, they want him to play Premier League football because it wasn't really... I mean, when you look at his stats from his Union Berlin loan, you're a bit like, ooh, okay, what have we got here? But he grabs you 2 goals in the Fulham game. I got an assist against Manchester City. At the moment, he can't do no wrong. So, you know, him in the box on the shoulder of the last defender has got to be probably up there for me.
Yeah, 100%. Mate, chat, have you got any questions for Dan this evening as well in the live comments? Do get them in. Dan will do his best to answer all of them as well. Kev, in terms of, have Burnley surprised you? It's for me, Burnley have done extremely well in relation to, as Dan's already alluded to tonight, in terms of the youthful squad. I think even if Burnley were to go down this season, given, as Dan alluded to at the top of the show, how positive they were in the Championship, they'll just come back up. A bit like Norwich or like, but I think in terms of more of a strong foundation, given the big contract that they've got. It's difficult trying to get that right combination for new teams when they come back into the Prem, or anyone that comes into the Prem, getting that young manager.
Forest is what I look at Burnley as. Yeah. You know, we went up, we spent a lot of money on players that, to be fair, Forest probably did it better. They spent money on players that actually had played Premier League football before, or, you know, at least had a bit of experience in terms of their age and things. Yeah. We've bought kids, and you know, Forest finally realised in the end that something's got to change. Now, I'm not saying company may look and go, okay, maybe if we just tweak this, if we tweak that, who knows? Time will tell. But yeah, I just think for us, Burnley and Forest almost looks sort of semi-alike. That first season of coming up, trying to bring in all these players, thinking, yeah, that's fine, we'll be all right. And then even they're nearly, you know,
what you've got over Forest is the fact of the net spend now as well. So if you were to survive this season, you could really swap places with Forest and kind of, you know, build something from there. Whereas Forest, I think, are going to be a bit knocked back with the amount of money they've spent over the last couple of seasons. They mightn't be able to spend for a couple of seasons after Blue, you know, as much as they have done. When you were asking me what did I feel about how Burnley were doing, I'm surprised where they are. I thought they'd be in or around the area, but I'm surprised that they are in 19th. You know, I expected maybe with the drop off a bit of Forest last season, I thought they'd be down in there. Who's on a bit of a free fall at the moment? Crystal Palace are a bit on a free fall. Brentford are on a bit of a free fall, so they could end up pulling themselves into that race. You know, down there at the bottom. But yeah, there's a gap. I mean, I know there's like a 9-point gap to Brentford and you know, but it's the same games played. It's Crystal Palace are in the. I think Fulham and them above are all okay now. I don't know where Crystal Palace and Brentford are going to get themselves to 40 points with the way they're playing at the moment. You know, they're capable of being good teams, but they're not getting the points at the Forest as well. Yeah, I don't know.
2 wins for Burnley, Kev. I think they'll.
Yeah.
I know Dan's probably laughing at us too, saying just 2 wins at this moment in time, but it is, like, in all honesty for me, because that'll put them on 19 points, and then who knows, that points this week against Fulham could be massive. We know how important that is.
It's Luton is the issue down there now for all those teams. Luton's on a good run of form. They've got 4 games.
This is one thing
4 out of 5 they haven't lost. Yeah.
This is the one thing I was saying this year, that Burnley got promoted. Every time we've been promoted, we've been the underdog. We've come up. Yeah. No one gives a shit about little Burnley. It's like, they've come to the Premier League. Well done. Enjoy your season. Bugger off. That's it. No one cared. No one listened. Because of what we did in the Championship, everyone went, oh, Burnley are back. What they're going to do? Look at the way they've been playing. We're going to have to lace our boots up and actually give them a game. We're going to do this. And it's almost like eyes have been on Burnley this year, and people have sort of pricked up a little bit and gone, oh, what's Burnley doing? So now there's this pressure on us now, where before it was a case of just go under the radar and do what you do. And I think that's what Luton have got, what we had, that going under the radar. Nobody knows who we are. And we can just play our game, ride that wave of getting promoted. You know, I'm sure they're still in that party mode, obviously, of, you know, every match week. Shit, we're in the Premier League. It's probably madness for them. But that's what I think we as sort of buckled us down a little bit this year.
I think that maybe Burn, just going by this weekend, I'm not going to give it like what I think. I think Liverpool are going to be a different animal this weekend because of what happened with Arsenal and the way that we didn't kind of turn up in that first half. Burnley is almost, it can be a banana skin game, or it could be a perfect game for us straight after. And with the run that we have in the next 4 games, which I think is Burnley, Nottingham Forest are in there, Brentford are in there, and Luton Town are in there before we hit like either side of Chelsea and before we hit Man City. So the thing is, you've 2 potential banana skins for yourselves coming up that are almost gimmies for you, which is Liverpool and Arsenal in a row. And even losing them, nobody's going to kind of put too much added pressure on you. But I just think once the weight of those kind of games are off your shoulders, I think Burnley will start to play it in.
Hopefully, because I'm going to Selhurst Park against Palace, so hopefully we've got 3 points there.
So I think because you've got Palace, you have Brentford, I think, coming up as well. Let me have a look at this in a second. So I think you have Palace and Brentford. You've West Ham down there. West Ham are a yo-yo team so much this season. So Chelsea are there. Or you can go to Chelsea, and Chelsea can, as you can see, go and destroy Aston Villa last night, or whatever Aston Villa team was out there. And then go and lose 4-1 to Wolves or Burnley or something like that, so that's what the way you can do. So there's potential games, and you've got Wolves coming up as well. Everton is going to be a big game down there as well. So like, I'm hoping that
points down for you.
I'm this is the kind of way I'm hoping that Everton get their 3 points this weekend, and then Burnley takes it off them in a few weeks. Of course, that's the kind of way, because
I don't want them to have 3 points at all. In fact, I want them to have another 10-point deduction, mate. So
but that's the thing. They'll get it anyway. So but I mean, you've got Sheffield United, you've got Brighton, who are not in the greatest being the form.
Yeah.
They've dropped off completely, and I mean, I think Europe is doing that to them as well. And I think they're concentrating a lot on what they can do in Europe. United. What United is going to turn up that way is United. They're going to be passed. They're going to be great for the first 20 minutes. That's what United tend to do to make themselves busy. I think they're shocking.
I'm not even a name on the channel. They are an enigma. But enough about them. Them.
Well, I was just going through the number of teams that they have that Burnley have coming up, and then you have Newcastle, Tottenham, and Nottingham Forest. At that stage, the Tottenham game could be a tricky game. Newcastle, I don't know if they're going to be too far behind to get back into Europe at that stage after dropping off at Liv. Spurs after pulling themselves back into this Europe spot, so that, that could be a tough game. I think those last 3 games are going to tell a lot for Burnley. The Newcastle, the Spurs, and the Forest game. I think they're going to be an unbelievable game. I can see maybe Luton dropping back down into it. I think Forest will be thereabouts. Brentford might get involved. The only difference I see there, I think Brentford might go above Palace, and Palace might actually drop down, to be honest with you, because of the games played and stuff like that. Luton have a game in hand on everybody. Brentford have a game in hand on everybody. I think the rest will drop into that relegation battle. Yeah.
I'll take it. Very busy. Dan, if you needed a Liverpool fan, I'll pose... I disguise myself as an Everton fan and wear a Burnley shirt, lad, if you want. I'll come on your show. I'll be support. I support anyone who plays Everton this season anyway. But it's like they're like a cockroach in the Premier League. They just won't disappear, mate. Like, but it is what it is. But they've got Sean Dyche, as we said at the top of the show, who's a very good manager, and he's
You're a Liverpool fan.
He's literally got just wait until he puts up a red Christmas tree and then they fume.
If he sends them down a statue of Dyche outside of
Sean
Liverpool.
Dyche is going to do the Sean Dyche is going to do the Rafa. He's going to leave Everton and join Liverpool when Klopp's gone.
No,
we'll put a mural of Klopp and Dyche when you were in the tunnel a couple of seasons ago. That's what we'll do.
Darwin Núñez's head will be indented because of the long balls coming up at Dyche. No thanks. Cheers.
He already plays like Chris Wood if he's offside that much anyway, so he's already got him down to a T.
I know you'll be happy with no Chris Wood, mate, at the club. But there's a lot of questions. Obviously, a massive thank you to everyone getting the questions in. We'll try and get through them all as quickly as possible can. But Doug said, in terms of your strongest 11, Dan, if you want to mix that with a bit of you anticipate starting on Saturday, mate, for Burnley.
If we're going with who's starting on Saturday, then I'd say Trafford would be between the sticks. Maybe our new January signing, Lorenz Assignon, plays on the right with Dara Rocher, and if Jordan Bayer's back, I think he may be back in the frame. So Bayer alongside Dara Rocher, which means Vitinho will probably play at left back. Midfield, I'm going to say we probably play with Goodmanson out wide, Brownhill and Sander Berg in midfield. On the left, Wilson Odobert. I'd go 4-4-2. Funnily enough, I know it sounds old school, but I never knew that's probably what's doing us wrong. We're playing 4-4-2 and trying to be tiki-taka with a 4-4-2. Like Mark Bassett would be turning in his grave. Hey, Burnley under Dash, it wouldn't have surprised me if we had Benton and Edges up front. But Fofana and Foster up top, I think they eventually, once they read each other's game, could be a dream partnership.
100%, mate, 100%. Mark, massive thank you for the question as well. Massive thank you, Doug, for that question as well. Mark saying in the comments tonight, Dan, what areas are you worried about with your team setup? Dan, what areas are you worried about with your team setup at the minute? Is there any areas of the pitch that you're a bit concerned going into? I know.
Left back.
Left back.
Left back.
Is that a position that Liverpool can get got at the start?
Oh, big time. Big time. Our out-and-out left-back, Charlie Taylor, looks like he's out for the rest of the season. I think he slipped a disc just where his shoulder and neck is. So they have to wait like 4 to 6 weeks for that to sort of swelling to go down before they can then assess the injury itself. So it's a tough call, but left-backs, obviously the summer window, we never got a replacement left-back, and Charlie Taylor was our only out-and-out option. So Vitinho's had to learn to move from right back to left back. Maxime Esteve, who we signed in January, can play left back, but he's more of a central defensive midfield, central defender. Left back is where we are weak as piss, and you can absolutely annihilate the shit out of us come Saturday on that left hand side.
Yeah. Hopefully, mate. Sorry for me. Yeah. In terms of chat, we will get. Well, I'll get Dan's thoughts anyway on the nonsense sim bin. We'll speak about that the last bit of the show anyway. Remind me, chat anyway. You know where I'm like. Dan knows as well, and Kev. All he is know. You'd ask me something, and I'll forget about 2 minutes later anyway. But Matthias, with a record high investment this season, do you think Burnley fans believe they would stay up? Is Company the manager for the future as well, Dan? That's what Matthias is asking.
Yeah, Burnley fans believe they'd stay up. Do we believe we're probably going down now? Probably. I think we've already chucked in the white towel from a fan perspective. But this is us. This is Burnley for you. We're always, pessimistic. We're just like, that's it. We're going down, and then something will happen. Like Kev said, the run towards the end of the season, we'll put a few results together, and we'll be saved by the skin of our teeth. But Company, I think, definitely is a manager for the future. You've got to think he's very, very still early doors into his managerial tenure, not just at us, but in terms of his whole managerial career. So he's learning, not just the players on the pitch. He's still learning, adapting, getting help and little notes from other managers around the world.
Yeah.
So time will tell. We've never been a hire and fire club. We've never had a manager for a short space of time and then somebody else, and we're not a Watford basically. So we've managed to, we've had back-to-back relegations, promotions. We've stuck by these managers, and eventually they come. Hopefully it'll bear fruits in the long run.
It will, mate. It honestly will, mate. I think when you look at Dyche for the period, obviously the back end of his tenure, a bit like Liverpool at the minute, manager cycles do eventually come to an end. Pep Guardiola's time at City will eventually come to an end, hopefully this year. But I doubt it'll be there for another 10 years, sadly. But I think it's only done about well, mate. We spoke about tonight, obviously, a young squad as well. And I think, obviously, me and Kev's done countless shows this season. And when we spoke to chat as well, with new managers, new approaches as well. And we've mentioned Forest tonight and other clubs down there in the Premier League. It's so versatile. But I think certainly, even if it doesn't go to plan this season, mate, I think he's come straight back up, and you'll have a bit more of an understanding of what if the year prior, the future year prior to that one as well. So have confidence, mate. And
I think that's one thing we've got. That's one thing we have got. We've got to be confident. I think Company will always set up his team to go out and try and win the game. I was going to quote Neil Warnock then, do it by being disciplined.
He's in Scotland now, isn't he?
I know, madness. But who knows this weekend? Who knows? The last time we went to Anfield and played in a yellow kit, we came away with a 1-0 win and ended a 60-odd game unbeaten run. So let's try and end that 23 unbeaten run, and let's go out there and try and do it again. Who knows?
Yeah, football is a funny old game. Me and Kev, especially, I don't know, I'm pretty sure. I doubt you've seen my meltdown from last week, Dan, anyway, but Kev was there.
I definitely did.
A whole world seen it. I was like fuming. I'm sorry to
any
of my Arsenal mates as well. I was very sour. Well, I was very bitter. I felt like
I was, but I wasn't really I was sour at the Arsenal fans. The fans were entitled to celebrate. Yeah. It was the players and the way they acted on the pitch afterwards. That's what I found cringeworthy myself anyway. They acted like they won the league and thing. And it's the same is going to come back to Spurs. Most of Liverpool's compilations, if they go and they win something big this season and they do end up taking the league or the European, especially if we take the league, it's just going to be compilations of Spurs fans and Arsenal fans. But nobody's going to give a crap about City.
How many times Arsenal ran before they could walk? They literally go, that's it, we're back in
ultimate battle jobs. Them and Spurs, they take the piss out of each other, but the both of them are the biggest battle jobs in the whole league.
They literally spin the bottle with each other, and they're like, ha ha ha, and then they'll spin it again, ha ha, and it's
that's just
both of them.
I can just imagine, Dan. Imagine if your lads, hopefully, God forbid, you don't this weekend, but if he's where to win, I'm pretty sure Company wouldn't be in the away end with all of his players going getting a camera and all that nonsense.
No,
Company's got that mentality of a winning mentality of being a captain at a very large club as well. That's the beauty of having Company as a manager. He has got probably one of the best managers in world football to bounce off. I'm pretty sure he just send Pepper little comments. He'll be
you could understand from Company's point of view where he would go up to the fans and he'd be like this into the fans and cheering into the fans. And the fans and the players would be doing that. And they were well entitled to do that. And so were the Arsenal fans and players. They were entitled to go up to their fans and celebrate. But it was the after thing about some of the families coming out with their players and then doing all the posing and all this kind of stuff on the pitch. And that's what it got cringy. And I mean, they're acting like you just won a league.
The players back inside the dressing room and say, listen, you've won sod all yet. You've won absolutely sod all yet. You've won a game of football. Well done, lads. Take the day off tomorrow. Beautiful spirited performance. But guess what? We need to keep that up. That's how it'd be. And I think that's what you've got to be because you haven't won anything yet. Yes, you've got 3 points. Brilliant. But, that's it. That game's gone. Park it. On to the next one. That's how you've got to view it.
I have what I think a Klopp starting 11 would be and what I wish list starting 11 would be.
Yeah, we'll get to that, Kev, as well.
We'll get that in a minute. So I got that ready to go in a minute. So
all these quick comments. Massive thank you, everyone, for all your comments as well. And make sure you do head over to the Turf Moor House TV. The links are in the description as well. Get Dan to shout out all the socials at the end as well. Mark, member 1 year. Massive thank you, Mark. And even for the non-members on the channel as well, for Dan and everyone that does support.
Just not as much, lads. All right. If you're not members, not as much. It's more for Mark. All right.
Yeah, there we go. Massive thank you, Mark, and everyone for all the members. There we go. Bloody okay. Burnley stats, Matthias. Burnley stats show that are getting better results away from home. do you think? Why do you think that is? Is it the pressure that we alluded to before, mate? Would you say? I think for most teams, it's a lot more easy to play away from home. I don't know.
Yeah, you've not got that tag of you're the home side. You should have to go out and win the game. You're on your home pitch, fans behind you. I think one thing that we've realised is, Turf Moor's usually loud on a match day, fans behind them. This season, the atmosphere at Burnley has been absolute dross. It's been awful. And obviously, I can understand that results, will send people a little bit like, really? But for me, I just think if you support a club and you're willing to go to the stadium week after week, sing your bastard heart out, back them, show them that you're there. Be that 12th man. I know it's cliche, but just say, look, you go 1-0 down, keep singing, keep going. Because if you then go, oh, you're coming off at half time, boo, what's that doing for the confidence of lads that are 21, 22, 23 years old? It's doing nothing but them thinking, all right, what they expecting us to be? Barcelona. We're playing in claret and blue, not maroon and dark blue. Calm down.
Yeah, it's spot on. I think that can be related to us, Kev, as well, in terms of when we've done countless shows. I'd agree, Dan. Like the amazing away fans, it's not cheap as well. We know, even if you're going away from home as well. But
the bread and butter.
Yeah, it's spot on, mate. Obviously, get to Andrew's quick comments as well. I think it'll be a tough game. Also, Endo is back, which would be a massive boost. Also, Leverkusen are looking on the ex-Wolves manager, Lopetegui, to replace Alonso in the summer. Fingers crossed, Andrew. As I said, try and not get your hopes up too far until we see it from one of the more respectable journalists out there, and it's on Liverpool's website, mate. As I said, fingers crossed. Be great if we get shabby, but we'll cross that bridge when we is officially announced, mate. And there we go. Massive thank you, Doug. As always, you're absolute legends. Hope you're well, mate.
Like we're even speaking on youth and stuff like that, Jack. And we're excluding the players that are out on loan, even from Liverpool's side of things, because the average age, I think, of the team at the moment is like 23, 24, which is unusual for Liverpool in the past like 10 years or so. It's always at a higher average age. But like even at that, we have a player that's out on loan at the moment who I have really high hopes from watching him the last 2 seasons away on loan. Before that, I was thinking, this guy's got a bit of presence. He might do it if he can build a bit of muscle on him. But we actually have the most press-resistant player at this moment in time, Tyler Martin, out in leagues. And he's got like 80 to 90% of, ball retention, which is fantastic. I think he's even up there to the high 90s. Of ball retention this season. So I'm looking forward to seeing him coming back and seeing what he could do, especially with Endo's age, and we need to develop somebody to come into that number 6 role and do a good job there. And man, I think Endo coming, I think Klopp kind of spotted something there. I don't think he meant to leave that early, but I think he spotted something with Martin. We're bringing Endo in to cover these positions. Might let loose the beast that is Martin in the next season or two. As he gets.
I was going to ask you two a question actually, because obviously Liverpool. There's been a change. Obviously, like you say, you've lost your captain in Henderson. That midfield has been completely revamped, and it's been massive probably for the success of Liverpool this season. I mean, what have you guys thought of the midfield? Has it been needed for a long time, or?
Yeah, couple of seasons now. Yeah,
breath of fresh air, mate. Obviously, you as a neutral, mate, watching this Liverpool side, it was the heartbeat over the last 5-6 year period. But I think, obviously, Henderson, for as good as player as he was in a Liverpool shirt, he was very good at what he'd done, but his legs had gone. Ajax, Dutch league, a bit more slow of a pace. It'll suit his game.
And Ajax have been shocking this year as well, haven't they?
So I think he'll be doing good to stabilise that club, mate. But in terms of the final question, I know it's talk of the town, but I'll get Dan's thoughts most importantly. Is it blue cards, Dan? That's been a new thing today, trending.
Is it new? I thought the NHS dissed them out after COVID.
This is discounts, as I was going to say. Sin bins, Dan, are they effective or aren't they? Or what's your thoughts on them, mate? If they are,
it's bullshit. It's bullshit. What difference is it going to make if a player's out for 10 minutes? Seriously, it makes no sense whatsoever. I can understand on the base of dissent. Just for dissent alone, that's it. Everything else, it's either a yellow or a red. But you up in a referee's face, learn respect, or that's it. You get 2 blue cards in a game, right? You're off.
Do you know what I find funny though? is how absolute shit the PGMOL has been this season. How are they putting in until they turn themselves around and start getting their decisions right? How are they allowed to bring in a system where you have to respect them more while they got all the decisions wrong? I think this is a cop out.
Oh, we'll introduce a blue card.
Yeah.
However, what we've done with VAR is we've made an absolute dog shit hash of it. You can't counteract.
I think it's to protect our arse thing. I think this is only to protect our own arse.
But the thing is, if they wanted to protect their own arse, they'd have brought in that Wenger rule. With the way that VAR were used in the Women's World Cup or the stuff. So if they'd have done that, things would have been a lot better. But it hasn't. I think we've been affected by it this season, where one of our goals, it showed a line across saying he's onside, and we thought, yes, it's going to stand. And even the commentators are like, he's onside there. The line says he's onside, and then they showed it again where they'd moved the line. Oh, he's offside. Whoa! So now you can move lines, can you? So it's
for me, Dan. It's
I'd rather be in a pub though, mate. I would rather be in a pub saying that a referee has got it wrong. The old school of referees an arsehole. Although you can't blame a guy who stood in the middle of a field with 22 other lads and he has to watch a full game. They're up there watching it on TV like we are at home.
We can all see a first glance.
Exactly.
Straight away. The thing is, Dan, for me, it's going to punish the teams outside the top six even more. Could you imagine? We've all seen all of our players up or down within whatever position you are in the league. Could you imagine 2 blue cards against City for 10 minutes? That would be like an absolute onslaught for a Burnley or a bottom 10 team.
Yeah.
It's going to be absolutely carnage, and they'll be like, oh, yeah, they'll be coming on in 10 minutes. City could wax even us. Guys, it's absolutely ridiculous. It shouldn't be a thing, as you lads have just said. I think it's there to give them an opportunity to backtrack. And the fact that
why are they trying to fix something that originally wasn't broken in the first place?
Look, we can speak about it because we're the most affected this season by VAR by a country mile. We're probably the most affected team in the league.
I've said this to fans. People go, Liverpool and stuff like that. But the thing is, you look at it, you can see yourselves, Wolves, are probably the 2 teams up there that have been heavily hit.
I think Aston Villa's had the most benefit from it, and we've had absolutely destroyed from it. Yeah,
Premier League must love Aston Villa. I say, this is what I was saying about the points deductions on teams as well. They were saying, do you want to stay up on points deductions? No, I'd rather us do it on our own merit, stay up because we've earned it. However, would I snap your hand off if you said you'd stay up because they're going to fall and nothing's going to change at Burnley? I would snap your hand off. However, look at what Villa did. Villa wouldn't be the animal they are now if it wasn't for that goal thing against Sheffield United. They'd have been in the Championship having to rebuild. They'd have been fucked over. And now they're going to, it's football's on its arse, mate. Yeah, it's on its arse.
Lack of integrity within the Premier League, mate. And me speaking, me and Gareth, even us chatting, as a big club, the league is there to benefit the bigger teams. Sadly, it is.
Yeah.
But I think if teams are breaking FFP or whatever FFP is nowadays, no one knows. You should spend upon what you're in. And even if Burnley do stay in the league, you're entitled, as Kev said before, you'll have a lot of money. But that's the beauty of what you have done very well over the last 12 months, as you alluded to at the top of the show, or the young signings. And that's what is massively going to be beneficial in a long term. Especially, you'd like to sign a big, shiny new toy, a new striker for 25 mil, but you've got to be realistic. And that's what Burnley
that's why I thought we'd brought Sander Berg in. I thought, we'll bring in this big Norwegian midfielder and hopefully we can sign his mate up top. With company City connections, but unfortunately not.
He's bigger than that fridge.
Mate, he's bigger than Turf Moor, honestly.
Yeah, he's a big lad. He's about 6'7", isn't he?
The thing is with Erling Haaland I dare say he's a shit footballer, but he could shut his eyes, shoot from his front bedroom window, and probably still score. He's just a freak of nature. Weird. Yeah,
100%, mate. Score prediction, Dan, for you lads. Be confident and goal score if you want, lads.
You know what? Head and heart. Again, I think straight off the cuff, I think it'll be a repeat of the earlier game. Liverpool get a 2-0 win. But Liverpool fans I've spoken to seem to think that Liverpool will concede, we'll grab something. However, if I put Burnley on my bet, they better score first because I'm after freezing that bugger as soon as it happens before it goes tits up. Yeah, I mean, I would take a point. Obviously, anything from this game is going to be accountable for come the end of the season. But ideally, I think you'll beat us 2-0.
100% that. Obviously, on closing point really as well, mate, in terms of looking past this game on Saturday if you can, how are you anticipating or how are you hoping really to finish this season? Obviously, not to look too far ahead really, mate, but are you hoping to try and string a couple more games? Gary's coming with us. 7-0, Gary. Sorry, lad.
Gary goes 7 or 8-0 against City.
Why has he forgot to put Burnley in front of the 7 on his chat?
Imagine the odds on them, though, Dan. Buy a private jet with all that money, 100%. Mark's on with 3-1 chat. Get your score predictions in. But Dan, just closing point, really, mate. Thinking past this weekend, what's your expectations going into the back end of the season, mate?
Just keep battling, keep fighting, keep having that determination to get better every single game week, and eventually, like I said earlier, it will bear fruits. We'll get points where we least expect it, and let's just hope it's enough come the end. Like I say, obviously there's soon to be points deductions banded around, which could help, but I want us to do it on our own merit. I don't want us to achieve it off the back of some technicality. Who knows though? Who knows? Like Kev said, Burnley seem to come into their own this point of the season. Hopefully start tomorrow.
Yeah,
I think the Liverpool Arsenal game give them a gimme, really, and then after that they can drive on. I think because they're going to have to, and I think they're going to have to up again.
He'll say to us though, he'll say, "Listen, you've got 2 games here. You're against the league leaders, and you've got Arsenal next as well. So just go out there." Play your natural game. Don't worry about where they are and what they're doing.
The good thing is you're at home against Arsenal.
Yeah,
that's a good because Burnley's a tough place to go to.
Not this season, it ain't.
It's a good barometer, though, Dan. I think going into the end of the season, I think when you play Liverpool and Arsenal, I think, as you said, at top of the show with company and the way he approaches the dressing room. Regardless of the result, you want to see a performance, effort as well. I think regardless of any of our teams, Newcastle, Burnley, Liverpool, you want to see your players putting in that. And obviously the game against Fulham, you're seeing that reaction. I think fundamentally is massive as well.
But Klopp who said it though as well, Jack. Yeah. Klopp said it in the game that you beat us 2-0. He said, I don't understand why Burnley are where they are in the division. Yeah. He said the way they play football, they should be reaping the benefits. And we've heard that not just from Klopp, but from other managers this season. It's all well and good getting those accolades from other managers, but until that result is down on paper and those points are actually speaking volumes, it means jack shit.
Yeah, 100%, mate, 100%. Chas, fingers crossed we can get this result. But me and Kev... Yeah. Oh, quickly, you want to go through that?
Yeah. If I share the screen, will it pop up straight away?
It should do. I'll have to.
Yeah. See.
Just quickly run us through that. We can.
So it should be. Okay. So which one is this one? Okay, it's the last time. So I think I'm going with the clap one first. So maybe if it. Can you? Okay. So if we're looking at the clap one first, I think Clap will go over. If I was thinking he was starting with, so Alisson in goal. Trent right back, Canate, Van Dijk, Robertson. Because Robertson's got a few minutes under his belt and he can start. Mack in the 6, Jones, Gakpo, Jota on the left, Nunez and Diaz on the right. If he's not going to start, Salah coming back too quickly. And then if I was to change that and I was to look at the one that I would go with, my heart and my want would be.
This isn't January, like draft show.
There you go. Yeah. Alisson, I'd have Bradley right back, Canate, Van Dijk, and Robertson. Right, I'd have Endo finally. Well, you're not going to see finally, but I would have Endo, Mack, and Trent ahead of because I want to see Trent in that midfield, especially at home. Salah, Nunez, and Jota. Diaz would miss out at the start, but you could probably bring him in for Trent if Trent was having a nightmare in midfield.
Can I just say, Conor Bradley, the emergence of that guy has been phenomenal. Obviously, I understand what he's going through. Like I say, I lost my dad in March last year, so it's coming up to a year this year.
Oh, can I tell you
so
sorry
it's,
to well.
No, it's just what obviously he's just come into the fray of Liverpool really and made it his own. Grabbed his first Premier League goal and then he's hit with a sucker punch like that of losing a parent. Nobody wants that. So yeah, I totally understand his pain. That I can understand why, again, like we said earlier about Klopp being, thinking about the person, not just the footballer. Told him to take as much time as he needs. So yeah, my thoughts, and I'm sure every other Burnley fan's thoughts are with Conor Bradley as well.
Yeah, mate. And obviously, what you went through as well, mate. Obviously, everyone on our channel as well thinking of you, lad. And keep strong, lads. And you're doing your dad proud, lads. Keep it up. Keep your chin up as well.
I'm trying. I'm keeping all 4 of them up, mate. Don't worry about
that. Yeah, all good, man. Obviously, please do shout out. Obviously, shout out to the website Kev did have up there as well. This is Anfield. Make sure you follow them on all socials. Very good Liverpool account, one of the best out there as well. So drop them a follow on all their socials. Dan, please do shout out where everyone can find you, please, mate. And what shows you got coming up this week?
Yeah, I've got nothing coming up this weekend due to work commitments. But next week we'll have a match preview for the Arsenal game. And I'm not going to be at the Turf this weekend, so I will be doing a watch along online for the game. If you want to follow us on social media, we are everywhere, like shit in a field. So check us out, Facebook, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, Instagram, you name it, everywhere but OnlyFans. So yeah, check it out.
Happy days, mate. Happy days. Been an absolute pleasure, mate.
You halted there, Jack, almost like, I really wanted him to send me the left link.
I was going to say, have you got any discounts?
Me and Jack are on OnlyNans. No, they say.
Yeah. What time is it? Past the watershed, not quite there, boys. Anyway. Coddy's still on. No, it's just about to finish. But a massive thank you, as always, Dan.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
You're always welcome, mate. And hopefully you stay in the Premier League and you're back next year anyway, lads. But for anyone on the audio listeners as well, please do head over to Turf Moor House TV, as Dan alluded to, on all of his socials. Kev, obviously, he's a part of the furniture at Anfield Road TV, but if you want to follow his social links, that is obviously Spider LFC and Irish Spider Guy on Twitch as well for the gaming content. But a massive thank you as well for everyone that has tuned in. Apologies you haven't got to all your comments, or I've missed one or two of your comments. It's not being intentional. You've absolutely smashed it. Dan smashed it.
That's because you're not members like Mark.
This was massive thank you, everyone.
What I'm saying right now.
Massive thank you. Got to stay professional, but no, these shows are far from professional from my point of view. But Dan, been an absolute pleasure. Kev, massive thank you. Everyone in the comments, have a lovely rest of your Thursday night. And if you are watching this on the repeat, do always get involved. Let us know. And as any Burnley fans, good luck for the rest of the season as well. And Dan, good luck for the rest of the season.
Just not this weekend.
Yeah. We might talk after the game if you get a result as well. But, right, everyone. See you later.